News alert, new reaction to a Justice Department offer to hold a second briefing for a bipartisan group of top lawmakers on classified intelligence information related to the Russia investigation. You may recall DOJ and FBI officials briefed congressional leaders on this issue just last month, following requests from two top House Republicans. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge is live in D.C. with the details. Catherine?
Well, thanks, Harris. The records focus on the FBI's alleged use of a confidential human source contacting Trump campaign aides at the height of the 2016 presidential election. A short time ago, the House Speaker Paul Ryan responded to questions from Fox News about the latest Justice Department offer, which will not make the records available to lawmakers until early next week.
We received an oral briefing 2 weeks ago, but what we're asking for and what we require and we expect is the corroborating documents that back up that oral briefing. And last night, they could have brought it to us today, and they chose to do it next week. That doesn't help.
Late last night, after midnight, a Justice Department official told reporters about this latest offer to brief and confirmed that at the previous session, the records were in the room, but not read by lawmakers. Quote, the department and FBI are prepared to brief members on certain questions specifically raised by the Speaker and other members. The department will also provide the documents that were available for review. Now, this is the key section, but not inspected by the members at the previous briefing, along with some additional material. This morning, the Speaker said the Justice Department can end the back and forth.
Frankly, the sooner the Department of Justice complies with all of our document requests, which are legitimate document requests, the better this is going to be for everybody. And had they complied with these document requests earlier when we made them, we probably could have spared the country of all this drama.
Three sources close to the discussions told Fox News the Justice Department originally offered to make the documents available this morning to Chairman Nunes and Chairman Gowdy, but at the last minute, the timeline shifted again, adding that the intelligence is not so sensitive that it should be limited only to members of the Gang of Eight. Harris.
Catherine, thank you very much.
You're
Let's
welcome.
get to Republican Congressman Louis Gohmert from Texas, member of the House Judiciary Committee. This feels a little bit like funny business. Like, what's happening with this?
Well, it sounds like funny business because it's ridiculous. These are games that are being played by some of the Mueller cartel at DOJ. As long as we have a special counsel who will not even confess as to his limits, then this is going to continue to be a problem. As long as we have Republicans who are in leadership positions who think it's okay to have Orwellian spies spy on presidential campaigns of one party, then we have bigger problems than just the briefing. But now, I don't know what was said in the previous briefing. I don't know what was in the documents, but my understanding is the people that showed up filibustered for most of the hour talking and left no time to review the documents. So it wasn't like the people who went did not want to review the documents. Sure. They just came in and made sure they didn't have time to review the documents and will come back later. This is outrageous. You don't even have to have FBI officials or DOJ officials there to do the briefing. Just provide the dadgum documents and let smart people here look at them. That is the real problem. And the more they obfuscate and delay, the more it tells any sensible person there are massive problems with this whole Russia investigation, with Mueller, with Rosenstein, with Wiseman, with Comey, and that's why we need a second special counsel that will dig and show Mueller for, I mean, it's becoming a criminal
Let me
cartel.
step in for one thing. You called Mueller's group investigation a cartel.
What
That's
do you
a
call
pretty
people that
fierce
come in
language.
You bet it
Why?
is, because what do you call? Well, look, Harris, every time we've had a special, you bet it is. Every time we've had a special counsel, they went, whether it was Democrat controlled or inspired or Republican, they come in, they want to go out of their way to make sure people that are working on their team do not even have the appearance of having a bias. What did Mueller do? He intentionally went for people that hated Republicans, hated Trump, and wanted to bring Trump Trump down.
The pushback has been that he went for the
Clinton.
people that he thought could do the job.
Well, actually, Harris, it's worse than that. He went for people like Weissman and others who had worked with him on the Russia investigation when they were trying to illegally get uranium. So it sounds like to me they've got a little bit of a CYA situation here, not only going after Republicans like Trump, but also trying to diminish anybody that could come in and look at their malfeasance in the original Russia investigation.
No one can ever miss your passion on issues, Congressman.
Well, this is outrageous.
But this time,
really
and I interview you enough to know the difference between that passion and where you're really angry. And I sense that there is a difference here, and I wonder what equals justice in this case in your eyes, because you can't force them to give up something apparently that they don't want to give up at the DOJ in their time. So what?
Yeah, well, we do. We can. And it's real easy. If we get enough gumption, we don't have the power a judge does, but we do have the power to say, you know what? You really have not been fair about producing things that make sure you're acting properly.
These are fellow Republicans.
So
what do you say to them?
Well, I know that's why I started out by saying, when you got Republicans that think it's okay to spy on their presidential campaign that they didn't support really whole hog, then that is a major problem. And we have Republicans that feel that way. But this isn't just for us, or it isn't just for this generation, but the precedents that have been set by the Obama DOJ. I mean, Harris, we're talking about complete transition from a self-governing society to one where the deep state controls no matter who's the president, and that's why what we're doing now is so very important. Congressman,
as the American people look at this, though, if they don't see a weakening of these institutions that are there to protect us, and that's a risk that you run when you have leaks and you have these types of battles, particularly those over information that eventually, I guess, they're going to release just with delay after delay. Congressman, we'll bring you back. Great to talk with you today.
It's a danger when you have somebody like Mueller that grabs people they don't like and then tries to find a crime. And it's a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Harris.
Good to have you. Meanwhile, growing pressure on Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein to recuse himself from overseeing special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. This picked up steam when GOP Senator Lindsey Graham wrote a letter asking Rosenstein if his recommendation to fire former FBI Director James Comey makes him a witness in a potential obstruction of justice probe involving President Trump, and whether he should then recuse himself from the matter. The Justice Department responded this way, quote, "The Deputy Attorney General would recuse from all or part of any matter if recusal were deemed appropriate by department officials who are informed about the matter. Otherwise, he has a responsibility to fulfill his oath to well and faithfully execute the duties of his office." That response not sitting well with Lindsey Graham. The senator repeated his concerns with Rosenstein. Watch.
I'm really curious as to how Rosenstein could be involved in overseeing an investigation if he's going to be a witness.
Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano. On this very news set, you and I said last week, I wonder if recusal will be next.
Well, recusal will be warranted. By recusal, we mean that Rod Rosenstein no longer manages the case, and Bob Mueller would have another boss, which is a little problematic as to who that would be. We can get to that in a minute. Recusal would be warranted, according to the DOJ, if their ethics team, which is a team of ethics experts that work for the DOJ, decides. He's basically saying, I'm going to let them decide. When would it be warranted? When you are both a witness and running the investigation. You can't be both. You got to be one or the other.
Can I ask you a quick question, and then we'll move on? Is this the same total or in part ethics team that looked at Jeff Sessions' refusal?
Yes.
Because we talked about...
I don't know if it's the same human beings, but it's the same office.
But it's the same unit,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Okay. So we've seen this before.
Yes, we have. So Senator Graham's argument, and on its face it makes a lot of sense, is Rod Rosenstein signed the memo to the president setting forth the reasons that would justify firing Jim Comey. He participated in conversations with the president. Bob Mueller is suggesting that part of what the president's reasons were was to drive was to punish Comey for not stopping the Russian investigations. This is an alleged allegation. I'm not saying this happened. And that motivation was obstruction of justice. So therefore, we need the testimony of Rod Rosenstein to say, why was Jim Comey fired? Was he fired because the president feared the Russia investigation? This is at a time before Mueller was in office.
Sure.
Or was he fired because the president just didn't like the way he handled the Hillary Clinton investigation?
Well, some people say that fire triggered the second, the special counsel.
Okay, so Bob Mueller has a choice.
Okay.
Do I want Rod Rosenstein to be my boss, or do I want him to be my witness? If I want him to be my boss, I have another witness who was there at all those meetings and who participated in the drafting, or at least signed off on the memo. Jeff Sessions.
But he's already recused.
Yes, so he may very well, rather than trigger 2 recusals, use Jeff Sessions as his witness in this Jim Comey firing escapade.
Robert Mueller has said that he wouldn't, and correct me if I misunderstood what he said, he wouldn't move to charge this president. Did I misunderstand that?
No, you understood his principal mouthpiece as saying that. You never heard that from, that's what Mayor Giuliani has said, but you never heard that from Bob Mueller.
That's what he said he was told. Okay,
Bob Mueller, unlike Ken Starr, who was on television once a week in that era when he was investigating Whitewater, Bob Mueller has never said a peep to the public. He is very, very dutiful in this respect.
Do you doubt that that's the case?
I doubt that that's the case because of the depth of the level of their investigation.
The reason I ask is that we're going around and around, and it seems like Bob Mueller retains his power, and I wonder how that happens. But what you're saying is, A, we don't know what he has.
Right.
And B?
We won't know what he has until he either says, I'm not indicting anybody, here's what I found, or here are the indictments, now we'll try these cases. And he doesn't have to show his cards. Contrary to my dear friend, former Judge and Congressman Gohmert, he doesn't have to show documents in the middle of a criminal investigation. He has the privilege of keeping those secret until the investigation is over.
I saw you shaking your head as I was talking with the congressman. He was very impassioned. I appreciate your time.
Of course.
Thank you.
Pleasure.